Alright everybody, we are here at Zandvoort. We are looking at race number 4 on the season, and it should be a really great race. We have a great field tonight, a lot of fast drivers at this track this week, a lot of really good pace by a lot of guys, so we're expecting to see some good competition from everyone. So you can see our running order tonight is John Snow ended up with pole position, Mike Wojcik in second, Alex Moda, Jesse Albert, Ken North, David Macedo, Mike Doherty, Pedro Perez, Ben Wolf, DJ Young, Scott Taylor, Stefan Buckley, Joe Marsiglia, Jamie Morrison, Nick Driveman, Evan Miller, Eric Tong, Samuel Rock, and Johnson Liu. So that is our running order for tonight. We got a nice full field, about 20 cars again tonight. Zandvoort is a very, very rhythmic track. If you've ever driven on it, it's really fun to drive on. It feels like once you get into a flow, you can just put down lap after lap after lap, and it just, something about it feels really, really good. I had no experience at this track until this week. I ran on it some throughout the week and watched these guys a little bit run on it, and it was really, really great. It is interesting to point out, or an interesting note, that we have had a lot of drivers win both of the practice races, but we've never had anyone win both of the practice races and win the official race, which is what John Snow is attempting to pull off tonight, because he won both of the races on Wednesday night, and if he manages to win here, that would be the hat trick. That would be all 3 races over the course of the week. So nobody's ever done it. We've had a lot of people get 2. We've never had anybody get 3. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. He's going to have his hands full though, because the guys behind him are very, very fast. Let's see. We have the custom liveries are still kind of coming in throughout the season. We got Jesse Alberts rocking a new livery tonight that he wasn't before, and it's looking really good. Some of the ones that were here before, David Macedo, he's still piecing out Pedro on the back of his car. Pedro himself still in the Megadeth car. There you see Mike Doherty in the brightly colored BMW, looking really good and representing CSRL, so we like to see that. Let's see, Joe Marsiglia, he's got his custom livery on his car, and behind Joe is Jamie Morrison. He's rocking a new custom STP themed livery for his BMW. So guys are having fun with that this season. We're liking seeing all the different custom paint jobs, and it's kind of interesting how the default customs that you can create in the game still fit right in with these custom paint jobs, though. It just shows that the default game provided custom livery editor is pretty good. The cars look good, you know. So some of them look better than others. Some cars have a better set of options than others. I know the McLaren, for example, has very limited options, but some cars have really great options. But everybody's looking good and ready for hopefully a good clean race. We are going to take a look. The camera angles are really, really good around this track, so I'm not sure if we're going to use the overhead cam at the start like we normally do. We may just skip around the pack and try to use the default race cameras, especially down the front stretch. As you can see down the stretch. You see the guys are all formed up, ready to get the race started here, trying to have a better start than what we had last week, where everything got all messed up. So there's the green flag. You see Buckley pulling off the track there. Not sure what's, maybe he just wants to start from the back. So Jon Snow coming down into turn 1. He's going to lose the position to Wojcik. Wojcik got a great jump off the start. You see Moda and Albert side by side looking at third place. Moda just gets in front of Albert there. Really close racing by those guys. Ken North right behind Jesse. David Macedo right behind Ken. Some more side-by-side racing behind this going on. Doherty has lost the position to Perez. He's trying to hold on to it, but Perez is going to get it from him. You see DJ Young right behind these guys. All right, let's get back up to the front. So John had the pace here. He was really wicked fast all week long, and tonight he was maybe even faster. He was really quick in practice, really fast in qualifying. And there wasn't a huge margin between him and Wojcik, but I think John was more consistent with his speed. He was fast pretty much every lap during qualifying. Wojcik was able to put down a quick one, but excuse me, not sure how these guys are going to fare. You know, race pace is a lot different than qualifying. There's lots of guys who can qualify fast but can't race, you know, worth a damn. So we know Wojcik can do both. We know Jon Snow can do both, and we know the guys behind them are good at both also. So this should be really enjoyable to watch. See, this battle for third place is going strong right now. There are close battles all over the field right now. This one's probably the closest, with Jesse being right on Alex. But if we come back here a little bit, we got Macedo, who's on Ken North. We've got Doherty, who's on Pedro. We've got Scott Taylor, who is all over Ben Wolf. Joe Marsiglia is right on the tail of Jamie Morrison. You see Evan Miller and Eric Tong back here. They're going at it, and then behind that, Johnson Liu has gone from last all the way up to 17th already, so he's gained a couple of positions, and he's hounding Nick Driveman. Stephon Buckley, after dropping back to the back, he's still pulling up the rear for now, but we know Stephon's got a lot of speed, so he may move through the pack as the race goes on. Alright, let's get back to the front. So John is starting to close the gap a little bit on Wojcik. It's down to 0.4, pretty much, 0.4 seconds. So he's keeping the pressure on Wojcik. You know, in some of the earlier races, he John off the track a little bit there, but in some of the earlier races, Wojcik ran away with the start and kind of never looked back. That little mistake there by John gave Wojcik a little bit of breathing room. That might be just what he needed to pull away. There's no mistaking, if you've been watching our races, that Wojcik has been dominant this season so far, so he's been really tough to beat, and he's looking good again here tonight. So keep an eye on the splits. You see John's already cutting into the time a little bit after that mistake. Now he's got it back down to 1.0, so he's gaining on Wojcik. He's got better pace than Wojcik does. I don't know if Wojcik quite has the pace that Snow has this week, but it's a long race. A lot of things can happen, and when the margins are this close, one little mistake can cost you the position, so by either of these guys. So you see Wojcik, his last lap was a 1:37.332. John's was a 1:37.590. But John's best lap was a 1:36.895, which is really fast. So, and these guys, let's not forget, they're running pretty heavy fuel loads right now. Some of these laps are pretty impressive considering the conditions they're racing in. You see John's got it back down to 0.4 seconds, so he's catching him again. Oh, Wojcik makes a little mistake there, gets loose. John peeking down the inside. Not able to make it stick. So John keeping the pressure all over him here. You see Moda and Albert are right behind these guys, so if these guys get tangled, they're both gonna go right by them. I mean, they're really, the speed in the top 6 or 7 of this race is really, really good. These guys were really close in qualifying and everything, so these guys have to get it sorted. If John's going to take the position, then get it sorted and go ahead and get back on your race, because the more you slow each other down, the more the guys behind you are going to catch you. Whoa, Wojcik almost loses the car right there. Gets loose. John going around the inside, coming up the hill, and he's going to make the pass that time. So Wojcik just got loose, able to save the car, luckily for him. But now we're going to see what he can do with John being the one who's behind. So snow has blistering pace around this track. It'll be interesting to see what these guys are able to do. We don't know exactly what kind of pace Wojcik has here because he wasn't at the practice races, so we don't know in a race scenario how fast he really is here. So meanwhile, behind this, Jesse is still keeping things close with Alex Moda, Ken North behind him, and David Macedo behind him. After that, there's starting to become a gap. So we got David Macedo in 6th. Pedro Perez is the next guy. He's 2.5 seconds behind. He's got Mike Doherty right on him. And DJ Young still holding strong in 9th place. He's having a really good race so far. Same for Scott Taylor. Some of these guys are, you can see them improving week to week. You can see the improvement. Every week they're getting a little better, a little more consistent, a little more competitive. And, man, we love seeing that. It's really good to see for the league, the health of the league, the competition of the league. And, some of these guys, you look at Pedro right now, he's running in 7th in a really fast race. Last year, his goal was just to finish the race. He was brand new, very inexperienced. He had a ton to learn, and now he's up in the top 10 or top 5 every race and performing really, really well. And that's only after 1 season, so you can imagine in a couple more seasons how good Pedro is really going to be. So you see Joe here. Joe, we talked about getting Joe a voodoo doctor or a witch doctor or something, because he has been about as unlucky gets. He's had some really bad breaks. He's kind of been the wrong man at the wrong place at the wrong time this season so far. He's just been running his race and pretty much chilling, and then somebody takes him out, or somebody goes off the track, comes back on the track and hits him, or he's just been really, really unlucky. So we're all kind of rooting for Joe to have a good finish. We don't want to see any more pain and suffering on his part. So behind him, you got Ben Wolf, who's being hounded by Jamie Morrison. Morrison's having a good race so far. So is Ben here. And you see Evan Miller behind these guys, and that's Johnson Liu behind Evans. So Johnson working his way up through the field. He's up to 15th now. And you see Eric Tong and Nick Driveman behind these guys. And Samuel Rock and Stephon Buckley are still close together back here in the back. So let's take a look back towards the front. John Snow still leading. He's only about 0.7 seconds ahead of Wojcik. So he hasn't been able to get away from Wojcik so far. You see Moto's pulled a little bit of a gap on Jesse Albert. That is 1.4 seconds right now between those guys, and Moto's about 1.3 seconds behind Wojcik. So trying to see if he can catch Wojcik. Moto has had really good pace around this track this week, especially today. I think between Wednesday and today, he kind of figured some things out because he had really good pace today, really fast in qualifying. Just kind of getting used to the track, I think. So he's looking really good. You see David Macedo back here in 6th behind Kent North. David still hasn't found the pace this season that he had last season in the Bentley. I don't know, he hasn't been able to race nearly as much or practice nearly as much as he did last season. So I don't know if it's the car change more so, or if it's just the lack of track time that he hasn't quite had the pace that he had last season. It's probably a combination of both. It's probably the new car. For those of you who have never driven the Aston Martin is kind of like a Honda. If you've ever driven a VTEC Honda, you kind of have to keep the RPMs up to keep the car producing power. If you get into low RPMs, a Honda becomes pretty mediocre. The Aston Martin's kind of the same way. You have to learn how to drive it where you're always at a high rev, because as you get to the low revs, it actually loses some power to the other cars. So we saw some really fast guys in the Aston Martin last season. We saw Andre Marcheshin and Mike Doherty both driving the Aston Martin and having a ton of success with it, but it's a very different experience than the Bentley. So I'm sure David chose it because he was looking for a challenge, and we'll see what he can do with it as the season unfolds here. Pedro and Mike Doherty are still battling back here. I think Mike qualified 6th, so not sure what happened to him on the start, but he managed to lose a couple of positions. It's not too uncommon for Mike Doherty, though. We've seen him do that pretty much the entire time we've been racing with him. Last season, this season, he tends to struggle a little bit off the start. I think he's a little more cautious during those first couple of laps, and it slows his lap times down. But then after he gets past that, he shows a lot of speed. So trying to figure out how to get around Pedro right now. It's not going to be easy because Pedro doesn't make very many mistakes. So it's going to be a challenge to get past him for sure. So let's see. We have a battle between Jamie Morrison, Ben Wolf, and Johnson Liu. These 3 guys all close together right here. Back behind that, we have Evan Miller and Eric Tong and Nick Driveman. These three guys close together right here. Let's take a look on board with Eric Tong for a minute. This track is it's extremely fun to drive on, but there are sections of this track that are very nerve-wracking because you have to maintain a ton of speed, and while you're maintaining all that speed, you have to be extremely precise with where you put your car on the track, because as you can see right here, this is a high-speed area right here. You are flat out through this whole area of the track, but you can see how narrow the margins are as the track weaves back and forth and comes over this hill. Then you're on the brakes downhill. See all of these guys getting through there really well, doing a good job with it. Yeah, I was really surprised with how much I liked this track. I would say at this point I love this track, never having experienced it before, or if I have, it was so long ago I don't remember it, but I don't remember ever sim racing on this track, and I really like it. I like the methodical way that you have to go through these sweeping turns, the high-speed areas. It's a really fun track to turn laps on. All right, so let's get back towards the front. We got Mike Wojcik, who is now 2.3 seconds behind John Snow. So John has started to gap Wojcik pretty aggressively. We know John, we're right on board with John for a minute here. We know John has blazing pace around this track. He has had all week. For those of you guys who are learning how to race, you can learn a lot from watching John Snow. Everything about his driving style is smooth and methodical. Easy on the brakes, easy on the gas, is turning, everything he does when he's turning is very smooth and it's all calculated. He's not jerking the wheel all over the place. He's not, stabbing the gas pedal every few seconds. He's just smooth and really fast. So a lot can be learned. He's actually taught a lot of people how to be better drivers. That's something we appreciate from him. And all of the guys who have learned from John have actually gone on to improve a lot. So he's not only good at doing it, but he's good at teaching it too, which is really cool. See him kind of short shifting right there, coming up that hill just to keep the car under control. Now he's on this high-speed section. Look how smooth through here. When I go through that section, it's not nearly that smooth. It's more like hanging on for dear life. John's really got it figured out. He's really smooth through there and looking good. Let's take a look on board with Jesse. Jesse's a little more like how I drive. He's a little more on the edge. I try to be smooth like John, but I'm just not quite as smooth. I'm somewhere in between these guys, but Jesse and Alex Moda both drive their car more on the edge, and because of that, sometimes it seems like they're going faster, because they're shifting faster, they're harder on the brakes, they're snatching the car around the track a little more, jerking the wheel a little bit more, a little more aggressive. But then you look at the lap times, John is somehow faster despite being methodical and smooth. And it's cool that both driving types work. You can be one of either kind of drivers and still be really fast. Jesse pretty late on the brakes right there, coming down to that hard braking zone. This is where we just watched John go through last lap. And Jesse almost pushed it too far there. And this is that high-speed area where you have to be so careful here. You see him on the bumper on both sides of the track, coming over the hill, down into third, back on the throttle, carrying a ton of speed through that valley right there. He's starting to gain on Moda a little bit. He's picking up some time on Moda. So we picked the right time to ride along with him because he's putting down some fast times right now. See, that's Wojcik up in front of Moda, so Wojcik just trying to hold on to second right now. He's got a fast couple of drivers behind him that he's got to worry about. So Jesse trying to keep pace with Alex Moda. Meanwhile, Ken North is 4.2 seconds behind Jesse, so a little bit of a gap development there. Far ahead of David Macedo. 1.9 seconds ahead of Macedo. David nice and smooth through there. So we're 13 laps in right now. We are running 37 laps tonight. So 37 laps is our total. The pit stop should be starting pretty soon if they haven't started already. We run a 60-minute race with a 20-minute pit window in the middle of it. So at the 20-minute mark, the pit window opens, and then at the 40-minute mark, the pit window closes. So you got a 20, basically if you look at it at an hour in thirds. So you got 20, 20, 20. So the first 20, no pit. Second 20 is the pit window. Third 20 is the finale of the race. So that's how our races are set up. These guys have all kinds of different pit strategies. We have guys who wait until the very last minute, like David Macedo, Mike Wojcik. They pit really late in the pit window. We have guys who pit as soon as the pit window is open. We've seen all different strategies. Some guys take tires, some guys don't. At a track like this where you're chewing up your tires, personally I think if it was me I would probably take tires, but I know some of these guys like a Jon Snow who are really good at taking care of their tires. It's a big advantage for them to not take tires and just run the whole race on one set. So everybody has their own strategy when it comes to that kind of stuff. So let's take a look. We still got Mike Doherty on the back door of Pedro. He's been following Pedro for quite a while now. Doherty's still running in 8th place right now. Meanwhile, Ben Wolf and Eric Tong are having a battle back here for 12th place. You see in front of Ben Wolf, that's Johnson Liu. Johnson has moved all the way up to 11th place, so he's having a great race. Johnson in this Porsche has put on a pretty good show so far. He's showing good pace around this track, and he's picked, I think he started in, I could be wrong, but I want to say he started in 17th place. He started towards the back, and so he's all the way up to 11th. He's having a great race. There you see, looks like Scott. Where is he? Where is he? Where is Scott Taylor is in the pits right now. So we see him taking his pit stop. Stephon Buckley has moved up to 16th place, so he's picked off a few people. Jamie Morrison has fallen back to 18th. Not sure what happened to him. Same thing for DJ Young. These guys have fallen back. There you see DJ with Jon Snow, the leader, catching him. These guys, particularly DJ, was having a really good race. Not sure what happened there. Don't see any damage on this car, but something must happen. Same thing for Evan Miller. Evan Miller is being shown as 2 laps down. He was right in the hunt earlier. Not sure what happened to some of these guys, but you see Joe Marsiglia running in 9th. He's having a good race. He's 20 seconds behind Mike Doherty, so there's a pretty big gap between 8th and 9th right now. But he's looking at a top 10 finish, which is much better than he's been getting lately. Like I said earlier, he's been very unlucky, so if he can just hang on to this top 10, I'm sure he would be happy with that. So Doherty, for as amazing of a driver as Mike Doherty is, and he dominated parts of the season last season, and he's right in the hunt this season. He's right up in the front. So he's not the most aggressive driver. He's not going to dive bomb you down the inside or bump you off the track or anything like that. He's kind of going to hound you and wait for you to make a mistake, and then if you make a mistake, he's going to pounce on it. But not overly aggressive from what we've ever seen from Doherty. So somebody like Pedro, who's extremely consistent, it's going to be hard for Mike to figure out where to put the move on him, because I don't think he likes to push the issue too much when he's the guy behind. So this battle's going on for 7th. We got Ken North, who is 6.7 seconds behind Jesse Albert. So that gap has widened. Back there you see Pedro and Mike Doherty diving into the pits. So this battle looks like it's going to continue between these two guys. Meanwhile, up towards the front, Jesse Albert has caught back up to Alex Moda again. Moda's still only 1.4 seconds off of Wojcik, but he's got bigger problems on his mind. He's got Jesse right on his tail. Meanwhile, Jon Snow has jumped out to 7.4 seconds on Wojcik, so he has pulled away a pretty big lead. We've seen John do this in the past. Last season, he had some races where he kind of dominated throughout. This season so far, that's been Wojcik. Mike has been the one dominating throughout the course of the season so far. You see Albert showing the inside and then backing out of it. Moda ends up running a little wide there in the long bank turn. Albert's going to get in. He actually got the position, made the move on him. That move to look inside may have changed the trajectory of the turn for Moda. Let's take another look at that. we will look at it from Jesse's perspective. Jesse shows the inside. Gets Moda thinking about the inside. Moda goes in a little different maybe than he would have, and that opens it up for Jesse. Jesse makes a great pass there. You know, we talk about not dive bombing people and not being overly aggressive, just outbreaking them every time you try to make a pass. That's a great move there by Jesse to use an alternative passing method on what is a really fast driver. Moda is a really good racing driver, so to be able to get him like that, that's pretty impressive. And now Moda and Albert, maybe Albert has the pace to catch Wojcik. If so, maybe Moda can keep up with Albert and these guys can both catch Wojcik. We're not really sure what any of them are going to do when it comes time to pit, if they're going to take tires, if they're not going to take tires, and so on. We know throughout the season so far, Wojcik has not taken tires in any race. He's been taking that 2-second pit stop and straight back out on the track. So see Moda closing down on Albert a little bit right here through this slow section. Meanwhile, Jon Snow has the lead up to 8.2 seconds, so he's really out in front. Let's take a look. There's some lap traffic between him and Wojcik. As we look at Wojcik here, I'm pretty sure there's a couple of lap cars in between these guys. Yeah. So that's looks like DJ Young up in front of Wojcik right here. Evan Miller, so DJ Young and Evan Miller dealing with the leaders now. If they slow down Wojcik too much, he's going to be caught from behind. So hopefully they'll just let everybody pass so the battles can rage on. So, which I'm sure they will. These guys, one thing we're really happy with in our league, everybody's doing a really good job of being respectful. If you're the car behind, if you're a couple laps down and leaders catch you, letting people see Evan Miller letting them go there. Great move by Evan. You know, been really happy with how good of a job these guys have done in doing that all season and last season. It's been good to see. So it's not easy. Anytime you're on a racetrack, in a race car, and somebody's behind you, it's not easy to let them go, even if it is somebody who's 2 laps ahead of you or a lap ahead of you. It's just not easy to move over and concede, but our guys do a great job of it. So you see DJ moving over and letting the leaders go by. Good move by him. Alright, so we've got the running order has shuffled and is shuffling because of all the different people pitting at different times. John is he's now 9.3 seconds out in front, so he's trying to check out of this race. Moda's now 2 seconds behind Jesse Albert. Jesse is pulling a gap on him, and he's catching Wojcik. He's only 1.045 behind Wojcik, so he's catching up to Wojcik. Trying to keep an eye on. Okay, so John didn't pit this lap, so he's still out on the track. We're at 21 laps in the books. None of these guys are pitting. They're all staying out. So some people have already pitted. We know Mike Doherty has already pitted. He's running in 6th place right now. You see, that's Johnson Liu behind him in the Porsche. Now Johnson's had a great race. I don't know if he's had a good enough race to be up in 7th right now, but with everybody pitting and stuff, that's kind of shuffling up the order. We'll see where he's at once everything sorts itself out. But either way, he's got to feel good about running in 7th place, challenging for 6th right now after starting in the back of the pack. So he's having a great race. You see Pedro must have gotten separated from Doherty during that pit stop. We saw them going into the pits, but we didn't stay with them to see what happened after that. So Doherty is now quite a bit ahead of Pedro. You see Ken North back behind Pedro back there. Looked like Stefan Buckley, who's all the way up to 10th place right now. Looked like Stefan's going in the pits there. Alright, so let's get back to the front. Okay, so as we get to the front, John Snow is pitting. So you see John nice and easy through here, making sure he doesn't get a speeding penalty. That would be one hell of a way to blow a race, to get a penalty right now. So he's into the pits. Alex Moda's into the pits. You see him back there. So Wojcik is going to stay out, which has been his MO all along. He always pits really late in the pit window. So Wojcik's going to take the lead. Jesse is going to pit also. So Snow's on his way out. Jesse's on his way in. You see Moda coming in. John Snow, after pitting, he's even shown in 2nd place. Is he really in 2nd place even after pitting? No. Okay, so David Macedo is in front of John right now. We know David, all last season, he pitted really late in the pit window. He did that the entire season. And he pushed it right to the limit in a couple of races where he almost didn't get to pit because he waited so late. So John, still running in 3rd, after that pit stop, just shows how fast he's been all race to be in 3rd place even after pitting when the guys in front of him haven't pitted. Meanwhile, Mike Doherty is running in 4th place after pitting. So he has skipped over several people with his pit strategy. Remember, Mike, before he pitted, was running in 8th place. He's all the way up into 4th right now. So let's keep an eye on Wojcik here. He is not pitting once again. So he just passed the pit a couple seconds ago. So he's putting in another lap. There's 23 laps in the books. Remember, we're doing 37 laps tonight, so we're looking at about 14 more laps in this race. Wojcik, and that looks like Ben Wolf that's behind Wojcik, but that's not for position. Oh, excuse me, I misunderstood what was going on here. Okay, Wojcik pitted. He did it so fast we didn't even catch it. So he is 3.3 seconds behind John Snow right now. So Wojcik's pit was faster enough that it went from a 10-second lead down to a 3.6, well now it's 3.6-second lead. So Snow is still in first, but it's within 4 seconds now of Wojcik. You see Snow's got plenty of lap traffic out in front of him he's going to have to deal with. Meanwhile, in front of him is Scott Taylor and Eric Tong, who are having a position battle for 12th place. So these guys are in a heated battle right now. The last thing they want to do is move over and let Jon Snow pass. Not anything against Jon, but just because they're battling for position. You see Scott Taylor get the position there from Eric. Eric runs a little wide in that sweeping turn there. Meanwhile, Snow right on the back of these guys. He's got the pace to blow right by him if they can let him go. But these guys are in the heat of battle, so this is the challenge with these long races. The leaders catch the guys who are, you know, in the middle of the pack, back of the pack. You see Eric running, taking a different line there, coming out wide, and then almost like he was trying to do a crossover on that turn. Split from Snow to Wojcik right now, it's 3.7. No, it just updated, it's 2.5. So this is really slowing Jon down, having these guys in front of him. Okay, so Eric's going to let Jon go down the inside there. So Jon gets past him. The lead to Wojcik is down to 2.4 seconds. So Scott Taylor here, he's going to have to try to let Jon go without giving up the position. There's a lot of places on this track where it's really not safe to pass, even if you're just letting somebody pass. It's kind of risky, so these guys are, no doubt, you see him there, he's going to let Jon take the inside on this sweeping left-hander, and that's going to slow him down some. It's going to let Eric get back up to him a little bit, but all in all, I think Scott Taylor got a little bit the better of that situation. He was able to maintain his position, and you see Tong off the track there, so that's going to solidify that position. But now Wojcik's got to worry about getting past Scott Taylor whenever he catches up to him. So behind this, Mike Doherty's dealing with lap traffic of his own, but he's got David Macedo 0.7 seconds off of him. These guys are dealing with lap traffic, but they're also having a pretty good battle right here. Macedo showing some good pace. So this is the battle for third place right here. Take a look on board with Macedo here. Gapping him just a little bit there through that high speed section. David, nice and quick through here, closes the gap back down. far Doherty is behind Wojcik. I think it's a pretty significant gap. He was able to move all the way up into third with his pit strategy, but I'm not so sure that he's not quite a ways behind Wojcik and Snow. You see Snow's opened up a 4.8 second lead on Wojcik, so Snow's just walking away from him again. John's showing incredible pace so far here in this race. Time still hasn't popped up for Doherty yet. I'm not sure how far behind Wojcik he really is. Alright, so we'll keep an eye on this battle. David Macedo. Whoa, what was that? Not sure what that was. Some kind of glitch or something. So, Macedo following Doherty. We'll keep an eye on that. Alex Moto is 18.8 seconds behind David Macedo, so no threat from Moto right now. Ken North is 1.7 seconds behind Moto. See Moto up ahead there. Moto currently in fifth. Jesse Albert is in seventh. I think he had some issues on his pit stop, which cost him some time. He's running in seventh, trying to hunt down Ken North again. Close eye on this. As this battle unfolds. Whoa, you see Ken get loose there. Ken's going to end up bouncing off the wall. Man, he lost it quick right there. Not sure what happened. Let's take another look at that on board with Ken. Not sure if he got a tire off in the grass or... Yep, he just got a tire off in the grass, and that just brought the car around on him. Lucky to keep it from hitting the wall any harder than that. So that's going to give Jesse 6th place, and it's going to put him about somewhere around 3 seconds behind Moto. So we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, Moto is trying to close down a very big gap to David Macedo. But we know Moto took tires, so Moto is going to be on, I think Jesse took tires also, so these guys are going to be on like a breakneck pace with fresh tires that the guys in front of them just simply aren't, so we'll keep an eye on that. Right now, Moto is 15.7 seconds behind Macedo. He's actually closed down a little bit of that gap. I think it was 17 or 18 seconds before, so he's already closing down on David Macedo. We'll keep an eye on that as well. Let's take a look back through we got DJ Young here, who is 1.2 seconds behind Joe Marsiglia. That's Joe up ahead there. DJ has recovered nicely after having a little bit of struggles in the middle of the race there. We're at 30 laps in the book, so we've only got 7 laps to go. So some of these battles, if they're going to shake out, they're going to have to shake out soon. Meanwhile, Johnson Liu is in 11th place right now, and he is hunting down DJ Young, who is hunting down Joe Marsiglia. So about 7 laps to go. A lot of things can still happen in some of these position battles, and these are for points. Anybody who finishes in the top 19 scores points. So currently everyone on the track will be scoring points towards the championship. So some of these guys have position battles going on all over the running order. So it's not just about winning the championship, but you want to finish in front of your peers. So, you know, these guys are, you see Johnson makes up quite a bit of ground on DJ there. DJ a little bit loose through that slow section there. Joe Marsiglia, he is 2.1 seconds ahead of DJ Young, so he's starting to pull away from DJ a little bit here. But Johnson Liu has caught up to DJ, so DJ may be losing a little bit of pace, maybe worn tires, not sure what it is, but he's losing the guy in front a little bit, and he's losing ground to the guy behind. You see Johnson here getting right down on him. Comes out of there a little bit wide. Johnson going to go for it through this high-speed right-hander, and he's going to be able to make it stick. Gets the move done on DJ Young right there. Risky part of the track, but I mean there's a lot of areas of this track that are risky parts of the track, but risky area to make that move, but he was able to make it stick. Now the question is, does he have anything for Joe Marsiglia? He is currently, it's showing 2.7 seconds behind Joe, but I'm not sure if that's correct. Joe doesn't look that far ahead, but maybe so, I'm not sure. Regardless, Johnson's got to be happy with the race he's had. He's put on a really good show, coming from all the way in the back all the way up into 10th place now, so he's looking at a top 10 finish if he can hold on to this. So gotta be happy with that. Alright, back behind this, Ben Wolf has closed the gap down on Scott Taylor. Looking at about 5 laps to go, so keep an eye on some of these position battles. Just looking at Alex Moda, he's got the lead to David Macedo down to 9.2. He is closing on Macedo quickly. Not sure if 5 laps is long enough for him to catch Macedo. He's now down to 8.6, so he's closing the gap very quickly on David Macedo. That is the battle for 4th. See if Moda can actually catch Macedo. He's still got a lot of work to do to catch him. Meanwhile, David Macedo is 3.7 seconds off of Mike Doherty, so he's falling back off of Doherty a good bit. we're riding on board with Ben Wolf here. Oh, he laid on the brakes there. Just bailed out of it to keep from hitting the guy in front. Good move by him not to hit the guy in front. Four laps to go. These are the closest position battles on the track. This here, Ben Wolf and Scott Taylor. DJ Young is now 2.6 seconds behind Johnson Liu, so that gap is widened up a bit. Johnson Liu 2.2 behind Joe Marsiglia. Pedro's over 13 seconds behind Ken North. Ken is 2.2 seconds behind Jesse Albert. Albert has fallen back to 9.8 seconds off of Moto. So Moto, he's basically in qualifying mode right now. He's got space in front of him and behind him. He can just turn as fast the laps as possible on these newer tires. He's got it down to 7.3 seconds to David Macedo. So there's only 4 laps, 4 laps to go. Not sure if it's going to be enough time for him to catch Macedo. And if he did catch Macedo, not sure he'd have enough time to put the moves on him. But he is catching him at a really fast pace. Now it's down to 6.8 seconds. Take a look on board with John. Oh, there's somebody off the track there. There's another car off the track. You see DJ, looks like DJ Young there, a little bit wide on that turn. John dealing with traffic as he goes through. He's got his lead up to 9.6 seconds. So he's well ahead of Wojcik. Wojcik's in no man's land right now. He's 9.6 seconds behind John, and he's 26.2 seconds ahead of Mike Doherty. So he's just holding on. No mistakes, finished the race, come away with second. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Let's see. Alex Mota's got it down to 5.8 seconds on David Macedo, so he is really catching him fast. Got about 3 laps to go. Not sure if he's going to be able to, doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch him, but he might get close enough to make David a little uncomfortable. I don't know if he's going to get close enough to actually be able to pass him, but let's see here. So we got Johnson Liu still following Joe Marsiglia. Joe just trying to hold on to that 9th place, trying to get the good finish here. You see some damage on Joe's car there. So this one is currently at 1.1 seconds. About 2 laps to go, so keep an eye on this. Ben Wolf is still all over Scott Taylor back here in the battle for 12th place. I just don't know if he's got the pace to actually be able to get him. He's fast enough to keep up with him, but when we rode along with him for a while there, he never really showed that he had enough pace to really get past him. I think these guys are very evenly matched right now at their current race pace. But crazy things can happen at the end of a race, you know. Guys tense up, get a little nervous, pressure gets to be a little too much, you make a mistake, and then the other guy gets the position. So good racing by both of these guys to keep it clean so far. So we're on the 37th lap right now. We're on the last lap of the race. You see John climbing the hill there. He's 9.8 seconds ahead of Wojcik. So he had a 10.2 or 10.3 second gap when he went in the pits. And now he's got it almost up to 10 seconds again. So really dominating performance by John here tonight. We've said that many times in the past, especially last season where Jon Snow kind of dominated. We had that one race we always go back to in particular at Laguna Seca where he was on another planet, like nobody else was even in the same race as him. That one was probably the most dominant race we've seen by anybody in this league. Not sure why John was so much better at Laguna Seca than everybody else. Still don't really fully understand that, but he had it really, really dialed in. And not nearly as dominant here tonight, but still to beat the guys that he beat, Wojcik, Doherty, Macedo, Moda, and Albert, Ken North, those next few guys, really, really fast. So you see John taking the checkered flag. Congrats to Jon Snow on the win there. And here comes Wojcik down the front stretch. He's going to finish the race in second. You see Scott Taylor and Ben Wolf, these guys still battling to the end here. Good finish by them. Taylor's going to take that position. You see Doherty, he's 3.6 seconds ahead of David Macedo, so he's well out in front. So good race by him. David and Alex Moda did get it down to 2.1 seconds behind David Macedo. So Moda blazing pace at the end of the race there to run him all the way down. You see Jesse finishing in 6th. He's crossing the line. Ken North 7th. Pedro Perez is going to get 8th place. And Joe Marsiglia is going to hold on to 9th and finish ahead of Johnson Liu. After that long battle those guys had, he was able to hold Johnson off. Johnson with a great finish, getting 10th place after starting, I believe, in 17th. So great race for him. Let's look at that real quick. Let's just make sure that's where he started. We'll go back to lap 1. Okay, so Johnson actually started in last place. So from last to 10th, so that's 9 positions. That's a really good race for Johnson Liu. He's got to be proud of that. So great job by him. And the amount of traffic he had to fight his way through to make that happen, still do it cleanly, it's pretty impressive. But what we're going to do now, guys, we're going to do what we always do. You guys know that I like to show appreciation for a great finish. And to have a great finish, you have to have a great start. So we are going to ride on board with somebody. Let's see, who are we going to ride with? I think we're going to ride with Jesse Albert. So you see Albert here starting in 4th. So Jesse, all these guys in the front up here really have their hands full because the guys all around them are all really fast. You see Moto on his inside here. There was some really close racing between Jesse and Alex in the first lap or so of this race. There's the green flag. So they're off and racing now. You see Wojcik late on the brakes, gets in front of Jon Snow and takes the lead. You see Albert on the outside of Moda right now. Moda is to his right. There's Moda. You see him coming through. That's going to put him on the inside for the next turn. Jesse smartly backs out of it and gives Moda the position. great start by these guys. From here on, it was mostly single file for a little while. Let's take a look back in the field. Scott Taylor, who had a great race. You see all the guys ahead of him. So just a great job by all these guys. Great racing. Another awesome show put on by everybody. You see Johnson Lou back here. He's got a lot of work ahead of him. He's in 17th place, and he's eventually going to finish 10th. So he's going to have a really good race. Other than Jon Snow and Mike Doherty, I think Johnson Lou might have had the best race out of anybody to take that many positions. Really impressive by him. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw here today, if you like the racing, good clean racing, great group of guys, really fast drivers. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to the channel. We put out a new race every week. So this is just one of many. This season we have four races left, and we'll crown the champion, and then we'll start our next season a couple of weeks after that. So lots and lots of good racing yet to come. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.